Okay, so I think we're recording. It looks like I am super loud on that recording, so let me turn that down a little bit. Um, so 3D animation, right? And
Yep.
let me look at all the names here. So we have 13 people in there. We have 4 here. That means we're 1 over. Is somebody in here logged in as well? Up on the thing? Am I wrong? 17. All right. I'm going to count it as everybody here, though. 'Cause so, no absences today. I'm just trying to get past the quick, easy stuff first. So this is weird for me and for you all. And I think it's going to be... Does that help or make it worse? Makes it a little better. So we're in 3D animation. Is anybody taking this class for the second time, just out of curiosity? Katie, Scotty, anybody else on Zoom? Looking at the name. Michael, are you? Okay, that was a no, not me.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a repeatable class. You two are taking it a second time. It is full credit. Usually, if the class were the same, I would change the assignments around for you, right? But this will probably be the first time you're doing all of these assignments too. So we can sort of amp the intensity up for you if it's feeling a little like, all right, I've already kind of done something at this level. But like most classes that are 3,000 or 4,000 level digital media classes, they're repeatable for credit. So I knew we'd have some people in here who were taking it a second time. So hopefully you've already had a chance to look at D2L. Have you? Have not? Okay. I'm going to move you all. Actually, what I'm going to do is go to screen share.
Hey Greg, when D2L was like, when we got an email for it, at least for me, all the classes were like blocked, so like I couldn't access anything.
Okay.
So
When did you get the email for it?
It was like maybe a week ago.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why.
So, as it is set by default, D2L, the classes don't open until today, right? Teachers have to go in there and set the open date back earlier. Not a lot of teachers know how to do that because not a lot of teachers heavily utilize D2L until this semester, and now everybody does. But I ended up opening this one, but it was just a couple of days ago. I think it was on Thursday. So you can hop in there now. It's all right. Nobody's behind on anything. I'm probably the one who's the most behind on anything. So what I would do is hopefully you all got that video, that long video that got way too long, explaining sort of how the classes will work. And it seems like everybody it kind of made sense because a lot of people realize you can stay home and do it through Zoom, or you can come in, and you're not like locked into either of those, right? Like if people who are currently on Zoom next week, if you're feeling a little more like, oh, I'd like to go be there in person, come on in. If any of you are like next week, nah, never mind, I'm going to stay home. Like day to day, you can switch in and out of that. It's not like you've signed up for a different class. So the course info is sort of the standard stuff. Like I already kind of feel like I went through an overview of the generals of all of my syllabi, which is sort of how my classes work. And so if you've had a class with me before, you're pretty familiar with that. Who has never had a class with me before?
I have not.
Who, and Zach.
Zach, yeah.
I had one with you, but it was online.
Right. And yeah, that's right. So, so I'm looking at the names here really quick. So we got Zach. What was your name again? Savannah. Okay, let me. Savannah Priestley? Yeah, Presley. Okay, I'm going to do my best. I think everybody else. Skylar, have I had a class with you before?
No, actually, never had any.
Okay, I didn't think so. Noah, I recognize your name, but were you in my principal's class?
More people need to have their cameras turned on.
Yeah. Yeah, if you do
I don't
have,
own a webcam, so.
yeah, if you don't have a
Wow.
webcam, I understand, but if you do have one, it'd be cool to.
I'm actually using my phone. There's an app you can get where you can set your phone up to work as a camera.
The other thing is, even if you don't, just so I can it's kind of a little bit more of a knee-jerk reaction, so I can recognize people. If you can put like a picture as your icon, so I at least know I can sort of attach names to faces if I'm not. This is but I'm not gonna force you all to keep your cameras on. You're welcome to, but I get it. Sometimes you're like, you know what? I didn't wash my hair today. Turning off the camera. It's a pandemic for all of us, so it's okay. So I'm not sure about Noah. I know your name, but I can't remember which class I had you with, or if I just know your name from something else. And you may not have a mic. If you could type in the chat, Noah, when you get a chance. Oh, the chat is already up. Oh, I've never had one with you. Okay, cool. So this is different for me, because usually by the 3000 level classes I've had you all in a class before, right? So you're a little more familiar with me, I'm a little more familiar with you. So there'll be a little bit of getting to know each other. Scotty, did you have 3D animation with me?
It's
Or
been about
Sari?
a year and a half. I've had principals and 3D.
But was 3D with me?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember having you in classes, I couldn't remember which one. So, so this is we'll come back to this class a little bit about the content of this class here in a few minutes, but so I would definitely say read through the syllabus. I can't believe I did that. I still haven't put the syllabus receipt form up here. So read through the syllabus. We're going to look at a couple of things today, though. We're going to come back to the course schedule, and of course the special schedule info. We'll talk about that. But we've had a couple of questions already about Zoom, like how my office hours are going to work, stuff like that. So if we go over here to the Zoom links, you'll see, let's back to 2 rows. You'll see a couple of things. I have 2 different Zoom rooms, meetings set up. One is for all of my classrooms, right? So if you ever feel like you need to crash my Principles of Animation class, feel free to hop in. It'll be the same link, it's just on a different day, different time. The other link is like an open office hours. So what I plan to do is I will just open up my Zoom meeting wherever I am, whether I'm in my office here or at my office at home. I'll just open up the Zoom link during the scheduled times. So I have that listed right here. And that's just open walk-in time for anybody who has questions, you're fighting with something, you just want to chat about animation. Like, you don't have to have a reason, you don't have to have an appointment. Just come on in, hang out, we'll chat. Did that kind of answer the question you had about it? Okay, cool. Completely open for anything, doesn't have to be class related. Maybe you're needing help with some other class, maybe you want career advice, any of that, it's fair game, right? If for some reason, let's say it's Tuesday at 3:15 and you hop into that room and I'm not there, like I said, I'm not always the most reliable when it comes to schedules or time or any of that stuff. It may be that I just forgot. Like I get the notification 15 minutes earlier and then suddenly I get wrapped up in answering emails and I forgot to click the button. So something I've done differently than I've done in any class in the past is under syllabus, under contact information, there's my office number. I don't know that I've ever actually answered that and it be something that's not a telemarketer. I had to look it up to find out what my number even was. This is my cell number, okay? This is a different semester. If you're having issues, whatever, send me a text message. Like try to limit, drunk dialing me or, or any of that. And I usually conk out around 9:30, and I usually wake up around 6. So if I get a text from you at midnight, you'll get my reply at 6. So just keep that in mind of when, we'll probably be able to bounce back and forth. But if you hop in the Zoom meeting, I'm not there, send me a quick reminder. Feel free to put this in your phone, and just when you text me the first time, just let me know who you are so I can put you in my contacts. That way if you need to call or anything, I'm not ignoring the number. So I have all of this in here. This is the minimum that I will be in that room, not the maximum. If it turns out that people are just needing to meet more often, I'll expand those. And I am usually actively working at a desk or doing something digital media related from about 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m. Okay? So if I'm not there at 4:15, I'm probably still at my desk. Just send me a quick text message, I can hop in and we can chat, right? Something that may happen is people may need to have a Zoom chat about something that they don't want to be a group chat, right? They may have like a personal issue they want to talk about. If that's the case, still meet me in this room, and I can always just open up a private room between the two of us that nobody else can get into, and we can just have a one-on-one that way. So hopefully you all have had a chance to kind of skim this, or at least skim parts of the class. Before I kind of move, because I don't want today to be one of those read the syllabus days. This thing's hard to talk in, so I'm trying to limit how much of that talking I have to do anyway. So any questions though? Anything that pops out that you're like, I didn't get that or didn't understand that from the syllabus? Yes?
How is like sharing files gonna work? Are we gonna screen share, or do you want us to send you things?
So sharing it with me or sharing it with each other, or?
Like sharing, like if we go to like your office hours.
Yeah, so I don't know the exact amount of space you have, but you should all have OneDrive space. So OneDrive is kind of built into Windows. If you don't have a Windows computer, you can still download it. And it's kind of like Dropbox or Google Drive, right? It's got so much cloud space that you can also sync to your computer. We can do that. You can basically send me a link to anything on whatever cloud service works well for you. But I'm personally going to be using OneDrive. So there's a couple of different ways we can do that. If you already have your stuff stored on OneDrive, you can just send me a link to it and I can access it that way. I also can, I think I already have somewhere, a folder set up that has write permission from to anybody who has the link. So I can send you that link and you can just upload the file to me and I can look at it that way. Now if it's animation related, and that's how we'll be turning stuff in, is I don't have it up there yet, but there will be a link that you'll just submit your files directly to that OneDrive folder. It's really convenient because it will sync both to my computer downstairs and my computer at home, which means I can grade it from at home, and hopefully that means you will get your grades in a more punctual manner this semester. So I personally would encourage you to use OneDrive because for those of you who have looked ahead, there will be a group project, not single group, but you'll be working with other people by the end of this semester. There'll be one project that is a team project. And I'll take your interests and who you want to be on that team or who you want to be on a team with. Like that's part of the process. But so that means eventually part of this class is about learning how to leverage a pipeline. When I taught this class in the past, that was a different lecture, right? It's 2020, everything is different now. And studios across the world are working in the same way that we're working. In fact, I'm working with 2 different studios that are both completely at home and both making AAA games right now. So like the world's just changing, right? And I think that we're going to have to kind of adapt to how we would change and share files. OneDrive is actually a really good way of doing that. You could make a folder that's like your group project folder, and whatever files you put in there, you and your other teammates can sync those to whatever computer you're on. Okay, other questions that kind of occur to you?
I don't know if I missed this or if I missed something. In the video you sent out, it said there was a syllabus receipt
Yeah.
thing you had to take, and I can't find it.
No, that one's on me. There is. I haven't put the link up here, and I need to change a couple of things before I do that. So I'll send that out pretty soon. So let's say, basically the syllabus receipt is, it's kind of my way of just keeping track of who all is in the class, and in the past it's kind of been a paper trail, like if there was like a dispute or something like that, it was kind of evidence that both the students, this is what the student and the teacher signed up for. I have a feeling we none know what we're signing up for this semester. And so it's going to be a little adaptable, but yes, I will get that, and I'll send you all an email out when I get that up there. Basically, it's just saying, yes, you received the syllabus, so you know what we're planning on the class being. Stuff changes, as you saw last semester, so if something goes haywire, let's say, theoretically, I know of nothing that is in the plans for this, but let's say theoretically, we went completely online in 3 weeks or something like that. I would make an addendum to the syllabus to let you know this is how it's changing, but hopefully that's not going to happen. Hopefully everything will go smoothly. I'm optimistic. This might not be the right year for optimism, but I'm feeling optimistic. I really am. I feel like we're coming into this more prepared than any other school that I've heard approaching a semester. Like
I think this is the perfect year for optimism. This is the only year for optimism.
The only year for optimism. Well, I'll get onto that eventually, because you know me, it's the first day. I have a pep talk ready to go. Not a long one, but I'll get to it eventually. So yes, I'll get you the syllabus receipt. It was supposed to be hooked to this, and my giant checklist, it's apparently somewhere near the bottom, and so it didn't get in there today. I did upload an additional link in here, AppStream 2.0. So that's different. It's also in the wrong folder. I meant to put it over here, but it'll work in the course info link. Oh, there we go. So how many of you have seen AppStream yet? Anybody?
Was that in the meeting that we had a couple weeks ago?
I think Marty mentioned it in that meeting. So let's go ahead and click on it. So this should work for everybody, which means in case you're only showing up to class because you don't feel like your computer is fast enough to run Maya, but you're still just like, I don't feel safe here, but it's the only option I got. AppStream is for that. The other thing is AppStream is for whatever unpredictable thing comes around the corner next, right? So AppStream is a virtual computer, right? It's not remote desktop or remote PC like we had last semester, which was basically just you logging into one of these computers in this room from a distance, right? And that worked well for some people, but a lot of people it did not. This is logging into a virtual machine somewhere on Amazon servers. And they're able to stream it to where it's way less buggy and laggy. Now, there is a couple of issues that only came up last week. The first being that Adobe sucks. I'm recording this. This is going out on YouTube. Allow me to enunciate more clearly. Adobe sucks. So we thought we were going to be able to have the entire Adobe Creative Cloud on here. And last week they told us, no, you can't do that. You have to take it off.
You got to give us more money if you want that.
Yeah, oh no. So that's annoying. And we could all try to find some workaround that involves throwing more money at Adobe. but I would rather just try to wean myself off Adobe. So that's what I'm moving toward. We shouldn't need it too much in this class anyway. The few things we will need would be to edit some video together, right? My plan for that is to learn how to use DaVinci Resolve, which has a free version out there and apparently is as good, if not better, than Premiere. In fact, if you get the full version, which is I think like $100 or so, or a couple $100, it's actually got a whole compositing system built into it as well. But we're not going to need all that. We just need to edit some renders together for the most part. Everything else we have in here that should be crucial. We can click desktop. That'll just take us to like a virtual desktop, but we can kind of skip some of the line here by just clicking Maya. Go ahead and hit allow. It does take it a little bit of time to load. Once it does though, and you can actually be following along, you're welcome to hop on AppStream right now and test it out. So once it does load, it's actually surprisingly functional. It's got, if you grab an object and violently shake it around your screen, you will start to see some lag. But it's like a half a second lag, if that. In terms of playback, it looks pretty good. You may be dropping a few frames here or there in terms of just navigating around. It feels pretty good. This is with a moderately reasonable internet connection. So if you're on dial-up or you're on like some slow internet somewhere, you may be struggling with that a little bit more, okay? Loading application settings. Are you though? Okay, it is. So if you have any computer at all at home, you should be able to use AppStream as well, as long as it's connected to the internet. If you don't have any computer at all, we recognize that there still may be cases where you feel the need that you still need to stay home. So we do have some computers available for you to check out. I don't know the system for that completely yet, but I do think it'll involve the equipment room and people working within the equipment room. If you think you need one, come contact me. We can get you one. We'll figure out how it works, but it may take a few days to get going, but we can work that out. Questions on any of this? I know the real question is, will it really open? Loading application set. I think it's going to do it. Other questions?
Oh, this is actually, is it somebody else in person question?
Yeah, she said you go first.
Oh, okay, this is actually sort of slightly unrelated, but just to do with, I borrowed a Wacom tablet and pen back, in the way back.
Yes, you did.
So I'm just wondering I still have them, and I'm just wondering what.
Yeah, message me here in a little bit. I was going to reach out and contact some people. Last semester, there were several people who had to borrow some equipment. And yeah, we need to get that and get that back into the labs and functioning. So yeah, I was planning on sending out an email sometime this week, but if you have a time you want to come by, you don't necessarily have to, I don't have to be here. Like if you're going to be here at some other time, you're welcome to just drop it off in the office, leave a note that says, hey, Marlo, I dropped off this card, or I dropped off this stuff. I know there's also a lot of people who probably still have Cintiq pens just from previous classes and stuff. It's nobody's top priority to be wrangling this stuff back up right now, but as you get a chance to bring that back, drop those back off so we can sort of pull all that back in. And I think we're all kind of in the process of consolidating our lists. You're discouraging me here, AppStream. Come on. I believe in it though. It's going to load.
I'm just going to say it's very 2020. It's very the year 2020 for you to be like, hey guys, luckily we have a thing that'll work, and then you try it and then it doesn't work.
But it does though. There it is. It's working. Allow all the things. Here we go. There it goes. Yay! So, yes, Kate.
So the Creative Cloud that we got last semester doesn't work anymore.
That's my understanding. So the question was, the Creative Cloud from last semester doesn't work anymore. If it's still working on your computer, just don't say anything about it very loud. But if not, yeah, my understanding is sometime over the summer, a lot of those licenses stopped working, or tried to convert to a paid license. And I know that I don't know what the final answer is for some of the classes that it's not an option in, like raster. I think raster was even considering going to a third party software, which was is it Infinity? Is it Infinity who does that? Anyway, there's a couple of other raster programs that are pretty good. So, yeah, my understanding is it doesn't work. Try it. Apparently, it works for some people, and that may just be that they haven't killed their license yet. Let me make sure. I have my chat open. Yeah, the chat is open. Okay. Okay. I want to keep my chat open over in another section, but if you all are watching the chat, if a question comes up that's in there that I don't see, be my extra set of eyes for me here. Okay, so here's Maya running completely in browser. Click this button. It'll go full screen. There we go. And it actually works pretty good, pretty quick. Keep in mind, this is with me streaming this class at the same time. Right? You'll notice if I really do this, actually it's holding up pretty good here. I'm dropping some frames. I can see that I'm missing some frames, but for the most part, it's reacting pretty good. I don't think that it's really a super fast computer. It's just a medium fast computer. And I don't think that it has a huge GPU. So render times will probably still be a little slow. And something that I have not worked out the details to, I think other people have worked with this a little bit more than me, is how you transfer files. Right? Let me move this over to the other screen here. Because you should be able to mouse over here, and then there's a lot of different things, right? Like your streaming mode, you can set this for better quality, and it'll be a little less responsive. There are also options. Toggle multiple desktops. Yeah, here we go. So you can copy files to from here, from the app stream to your computer. There's also ways that you can put your own files up here. And my understanding is they're working on a method to allow you to hook your OneDrive to this. I heard about this a couple days ago, so I don't know what the status of that is, but that would be awesome if you could do that, because then you could keep your stuff on that cloud server and still be able to access that through here. So, like with everything else, this is still a learning curve for us. And it's not perfect, but it is definitely way more functional than the alternative. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this for, whoop, guess I'm not. I'm going to go back to D2L.
Sorry, I just have a question.
Yes.
Is that going to be how we're going to do like class critiques and whatnot?
Well, that wasn't really my plan. Are you talking about AppStream?
Yes.
That wasn't really my plan, because most of the stuff in this class should be able to be critiqued through a video, right?
Okay.
So all of that stuff, we can create OneDrive folders that you could upload, and then everybody will have access to that folder, so they can view those files at their house, or I can view them on here with the screen sharing on, and you can see them that way too. Video is a little laggy through Zoom, so you'll just have to remind me to set it to play, but you will all have access to that folder too. So that means you can pull the files down and watch them locally on your computer as well.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah, so the other thing we can do is for review purposes, there's a website called Sync Sketch. And Sync Sketch will let us upload video files to it. It's kind of like YouTube, except you can draw on top of it and leave notes. And so we can upload videos to there and give people feedback that way as well. So, yes. Did you have a question? Oh, you're just stretching? All right, cool. Okay, other questions? Okay. So, let's open this up because I think this is where the questions are going to happen. Actually, before I go to course schedule, no, let's go ahead and open up course schedule. I'll open it up in a separate link if I can. Can I? Oh, apparently not. It just opens in here. Let me open it up in a separate window at least, because I'd also like to open up this. So, our course schedule. Oh, that works. I've tried to be as transparent as I can here. This is my plan. And this may be the year for optimism. I'm not sure it's the year for plans going perfectly. But this is my plan for how this semester will go, right? Overall, we will have 3 projects in this class, okay? They're going to be weighted slightly differently. In fact, this first project will be due a week from today. It's a really short one. It's really just a warm-up project. It's like we haven't animated in a while. Let's warm up. Let's get back into the flow of animating, right? So it won't be weighted nearly as much. It'll be like, I haven't got the exact numbers down yet. I'll share those when we get them. So project 1, infinite loop animation. You'll see that this is what is due each week, or on the weeks. And these are the videos that I'll be making, right? Occasionally, these videos may be live, right? I may come in here, do a live lecture, and just record it and share that. But my plan is to do a pre-recorded video every week, and that way we can have this class function as the reverse classroom, right? Where the time that we have face-to-face, like this time here, whether I'm either here with you in person or in this Zoom class, is the time where I can answer the questions you have, not just talk, right? And I'm a talker, so that's hard for me. So these are the videos that I would like to have ready to go at the beginning of that week. So Michael, I think that was you that asked that. My plan is to have those videos live and ready to go by the date that they are in this schedule, right? This is likely to change a little bit depending on a lot of different things. It could be, who knows, we may get snow, it may be things that happen just in the course of this semester, or it may be like just organically about how the class or how the projects work, right? You've been in classes before where for some reason we fell a little behind and we have to adjust when something is due. So let's say stuff falls behind and instead of having project 2 due on week 7, we have to push it to week 8. This is a live spreadsheet, so I can edit this spreadsheet and we'll all be able to see what the new dates are. So, yeah, Kitty?
So there are less weeks in this semester, correct?
Kinda not. We are still actively here for 15 weeks.
Okay.
During spring semesters, it's still a 15-week semester, but you have spring break, which is a whole week that you're off, right? So whenever you're doing 15 weeks there, really it's like week 8, you just skip over it, right? Fall is usually about 15 weeks too, but instead of having a whole week off all in one chunk, we get Labor Day and Veterans Day, and then Thanksgiving is like these 3 little chunks that are broken up. And so you have 16 weeks, but there's still a week of class that you weren't there, right? So that's kind of what we got here, except for what ETSU has done is crammed all of that into one break, which is, for us, week 14, which really that's not even exactly accurate. Because really, I guess, let me change this a little bit. And then there we go. So this is really what the semester looks like, because this is just a break that we have off, right? We don't come in at all that week. The weird thing about this semester, though, is that this day right here of week 13 is the last day that any of us meet in person, okay? Week 14 is still a real week of school, right? Your English class, they'll still be teaching you about Beowulf or whatever, right? That seems problematic to me. And my first thought was, well, we'll still just power through it. You'll just be working remotely on that final project. But logically, what that means is you would have to spend Thanksgiving trying to come up with a solution on how you could do the most important week of work of your semester from home, right? You may not have a computer that can render as well. You may have technical issues, like whatever the situation is. It seemed to me like you wouldn't be doing your best creation work during that week, right? So I've changed the schedule a little bit from what we might expect. Can I zoom out of this? Let's see. There we go. So we have project 1 due a week from today, right, on Monday the 31st. Project 2 is due in week 7. It's the Mars Chase. And then project 3 is due the day before we go home for Thanksgiving, okay? So as much as it kind of sucks, that will be the one Friday that we definitely meet on, that to give you the most amount of time possible. Unless it feels like we're on a good pace, then we could always present it on Wednesday or whatever. But that's when you'll present the final project you've been working on, right? The last 2 weeks of class, week 14 and 15, I'm going to do that a little differently than you're probably used to in a digital media class. You're going to give a presentation on a topic in animation, okay? Kind of like a research project. I'm not going to make you write. It's going to be more of a live presentation. You're going to teach a little mini class, basically, on something that you want to learn more about, okay? Does that make sense? My thoughts behind that is you can do that with any computer. You could do that with your cell phone if you had to, right? Some of this will also include, or could include, interviews with people from the industry, right? I'm going to try to see if we can set up a group of people to pull from, that if you have a certain topic you're interested in, I could route you to that person to meet with them, to ask them questions. It may even be, like, I'm going to be pretty open on what these presentations can be about, because I really want them to be something that gets you that last little bit of knowledge about 3D animation that you didn't get from the rest of the class. Okay. Questions about the projects? You'll see along the way here, we have a lot of exercises. These are really just check-ins, right? Let me back step a step or two here. This has been a very hard class to teach historically, right? I've taught it for probably 4 years. I know Sarit taught it last year. Marty Fitzgerald taught it for a long time. Sarit's teaching a section of it this year too. But it's always hard to figure out what this class should be covering, and without like sort of encroaching on one of the other existing classes, right? It's not effects animation, so we're not going to do much simulation, or we don't want to focus purely on simulation, right? As much as I know a lot of you like 2D animation, it's really hard to do a 2D animation class in a class called 3D animation. Although it's not impossible, bear with me on that. There are sort of 2.5D or 2D, 3D crossover options we could do. Right. And character animation is sort of its own scope entirely. So this could include some character animation, but it's not necessarily a character animation class. So what this class ends up being is more of a catch-all for everything that doesn't fit in one of those other classes. And I don't really want it to feel like a grab bag. So to me, the way I've always tried to think of this class is about the production of any 3D animated project, right? Which also I think could be applied to any animated project, period. It's about pipeline, it's about workflow, and this semester particularly, I am wanting to focus in on something that I think is becoming an increasingly important part of this, which is like not tips and tricks, but like efficiency tricks, like ways of animating smarter, not harder, right? You will hear people, like when we're talking about it in class all the time, we're like, in the character animation class, if you get 10 seconds of character animation done in a week, holy crap, that's huge, right? Like that's a lot of work for 1 week. And that's why, like, when you came in as a freshman, I'm sure we were all like, you're not going to make an animated feature film by yourself. Just we need to burst that bubble as soon as we can. And as much as we always harp on that, if you're animating for TV, if you're a character animator for a TV show, you're expected to turn around approximately 2 minutes of animation a week. Like, that's ridiculous, right? Like, I don't even know, like, I know people do it, but to do that, you have to be efficient in the way you animate, right? And I think you also need to realize that as much as this is an art and a passion for you, it's also a career. And like any other career, if you're wasteful, you're not going to make a profit, right? If somebody pays you, $1,000 to work on an animation, and you spend like 300 hours on that animation, you're not making a lot of money, right? You're making so you have to find a way of being able to produce and be efficient and again, work smarter, not harder, right? So a lot of this class is going to be about that. I want it to be about how you would take nothing and end up with something that looks finished and professional, right? So you'll notice a lot of things in this class about that. Project and file management. Some of the other things that sort of fall outside of the scope of other classes is I really want to focus on camera and staging, like layout, like how do you make sure that that's working efficiently for you? Because a good camera placement can save you hours and hours and hours of work, right? If you spent hours animating the way your feet hit the ground, and then you realize, oh, your camera could have been staged in a way that you didn't even see the feet. It's just it's an important part of it. The other, a lot of other things in here we're looking at is the production pipeline, like how do we go from an idea to a concept to to assets to a finished piece, right? Like what is the industry production pipeline? How does that change? How does that look different from different productions to others? A lot of stuff in here is utilizing tools. I think his name is Richard Lico. Let me look that up and see if that's correct. Yes. Yeah, LICO. So I want to show you just some of his work here really quickly. You've probably seen this before. He's the guy who's really well known for having the mouse that does sign language. He is interesting because he doesn't animate with a rig. Like this character, I'm gonna mute it. this character doesn't have a rig. It's just mesh and a skeleton. And he has a series of scripts that he uses to make temporary rigs on this character, and then he deletes them. So he will make a rig to do the hip animation. He'll do the hip animation. He'll delete that. He'll bake that out into the skeleton, and then he'll delete the entire rig. And then he'll make a quick rig for the ears, and he'll simulate the way they bobble, and then he'll delete that rig after he bakes it out. He has a workflow that is different than almost any other animator out there. And I think you're starting to see people utilizing elements of stuff like this to get an animation done quicker. Right? I've recently started using something similar to do tail animation, right? Why should I manually set all those keyframes when I could get a simulation to get a lot of that, and then I could be in control of that, okay? So yeah, he's amazing. Check him out. He also has a bunch of really good talks on YouTube about how he does some of this stuff. Yeah, his animation workflow from SIGGRAPH. Watch that video. I may share that here in a bit. So I will be making a resource page for all of us to pull from when we start looking at our presentations. What I would like is a giant stockpile of information for you to be a starting point for any research you want to do, or if you're just tired of, you've already watched everything on Netflix, you're looking for something else to do. It's just a nice place to dive in. So there's a lot of great resources out there. So, another element of this is once we get to Project 3, so let's talk about the Mars chase first, Project 2. I have some really good images of this, and I don't think I have them with me. I may be able to get them in a second here. Oh, my phone is blowing up. Okay. So, I have an image of this. This is basically a car chase scene on the planet Mars with flying Volkswagens. It looks really cool. I think you're really going to enjoy it. But the plan would be, oh, come on. I know I have it in here. I just got to get back to it. But the plan would be, I will give you that file. It's already ready to render. It's not fully rigged because we're going to talk about utilizing some rigging tools, like some scripts, which means there'll probably be a, oh no, that's what that one is right there, right? We don't necessarily have to have, a fully rigged final piece to start animating. We may realize halfway through that we have a need to add some additional rigging to a part of it, and that's what we'll be doing, is using some tools to quickly add elements for rigging. Okay. Oh, hold on one second. I'm in the wrong one. There's one of them. Here it is. So a lot of these assets give me 1 second and I'll pull this up. I should have already had this up there. Works. And then so here is the scene we'll be animating. There's two Volkswagens in there. One can be red, the other was green. And Marty actually also, so Marty did a little bit of work on the lighting and rendering for us, and sort of pulled together this scene to look a lot better than what I had originally. Um, the Volkswagens are assets that we got. We purchased them basically, and a lot of these others are too. So you'll have credits involved with these. You'll have to credit other people for these assets, but I'll get you those lists. But basically, we'll have this as a car chase through the middle of our environment here. A lot of this is going to be about learning how to leverage your camera placement, your scene setup, all of that stuff. Let's see. Here's the other image. Oh, there it goes. And just so we can see the other one, here's the effect, the smoke effect image on it. So we're going to be doing this race through here, multiple camera shots, where you get to sell it as an action scene. Okay. More to come on that in the near future here. So the final project is it's right here, PR3, not the final, but the final project we'll be working on that's not your presentation, is this polygon film. I need to log into Slack, that would be way easier. So if you go to a website called Synth Store, or I'm sorry, Synty Store, SYNTY, you'll see these assets, right? And there's a whole bunch of these polygon packs, right? I currently have about a dozen of them, and they are model packs with skeletons on the characters. What we'll basically be doing is breaking up into groups of 2 to 3 people and making a little short film with these assets, right? So you can still make some of your own assets if you absolutely need them, but my plan is to try to take modeling out of this as much as I can. Now, anybody in the room love modeling? Okay, we got some wobbly heads, but mostly some no's. Anybody in Zoom love modeling? No, I see Michael with thumbs down. So, what I've done in the past is this class, if we're thinking of it as a pipeline class, the part everybody gets bogged down on is modeling, right? And so no matter what the project is, we'll have these high hopes for it, these high ambitions for it, and we'll do concept art for a portion of it, and then we'll start into the modeling process, and that'll take like 3/4 of the time, right? And then that leaves this little bitty wedge of time that you try to squeeze in all your animation at the end. I'm trying to eliminate as much of that as possible this semester. My hope is that you come out of this class with 2 things. You come out of it with a stronger understanding of whatever it is you're interested in about animation, right? And so I'm going to be very open-ended on a lot of that. A good example, Michael, I'm going to use you as an example. I know you're interested in the game design side of that, the game design side of a lot of this. Unity and Unreal are render engines, right? If you want to make your short film in Unreal, that is absolutely fine, right? I want you to be able to find the thing that you can research, you can get deeper into, you can learn the process of. This is not a class that historically we have gotten, or at least not in the last few years, that we have gotten a lot of really big portfolio projects out of, right? You may learn a lot out of it, but your final project, you're like, it still needs some work. I'm just not going to put that one in my portfolio. I would really love this to be a class where you come out of it with some killer portfolio pieces And so that's been my biggest push this semester. So, or this summer, is to develop that for this class. So, okay. I know I haven't talked too much about the infinite loop animation, which is the one that's the most important right now, because it's coming up soon. We will talk about that one here in just a minute. That'll be sort of its own little section of this. Any of you have questions about anything we've covered so far?
A bit of a somewhat of an on-topic question.
Okay.
Those polygon packs, what assets do they come with? Because there are is it multiple rigs and also set piece models?
Yeah, if you look at them, they're all theme based, right? And there was a Humble bundle a few months back, and I just bought them all that they had available then. I don't remember if the fantasy one is in there, but I got the Polygon and the Simple series. I think the military one is in there. I know the Wild West one is in there. I think Sci-Fi City is in there. And so like if you click on one of these, like let's find the Old West one. The Old West one's one I really like actually. The characters look cool in it. It comes with these entire environments, all of these elements. It also comes with an FBX file that includes everything put together in one scene. And then it comes with all of these characters, and these characters have a skeleton in them, but not a control rig. And so that's one of the things we're going to learn to do, is how to adapt that skeleton into a control rig. We may even briefly look at the option, depending on how well we're doing, the option of being able to put motion capture on some of these, if we wanted to. But really, pretty easily, we could use some scripts to create a rig on top of these skeletons, and then you have this whole cast of characters that you could use to make whatever short film you want, right?
Yeah, because my overall question was like their compatibility to UE4.
So if you look in these projects, they come with three things. They come with a Unity 4 or a Unity project, an Unreal project that has the entire scene, and then all of the source files, right? So if you're wanting to work with it within Maya, you would use the FBX files, and you could render out of Maya. It'll probably need a little bit of lighting or rendering work if you're using in Maya. If you're using Unity, you can either build it from scratch using these zoos of things, or you could start with the sort of the pre-built scene. Yep, Chris?
So I just double checked. Those polygon characters look really familiar. I just double checked. I own a game where they used those polygon, like that asset pack, not the Wild West one, but that same like line of packs, and that game was made in Unity. So
Oh boy.
I feel like
yeah.
by default, this Unity is very big with the I'm going to buy. People decide that they're going to do a Unity game, and then they just buy as many assets as they can. And this is a style that I think has a lot of appeal to a lot of people. It's simple enough to be iconic, but has enough detail to where you can still put some theme and some character to it. All the materials are hand painted, so they kind of have that. I guess they're kind of hand painted. They're solid colors, but they're hand painted. And so it just has I like the style. It doesn't mean you have to stick with that. Like, you are welcome to take these into Substance and retexture them if you like something different. You can make alterations to this however you want to. My hope is that we can focus more on the animation, the animator jobs, more than the outside animation jobs. So, but again, every person and every team is going to be a little different about what it is that they want to do. So. And if there's not a theme, if I don't have a theme that you want, let me know, and we can make that happen from this. Like, for some reason, if I don't have like the pirate one, I'm pretty sure I do, but if I don't have the pirate one, I can get that for you. So is this making sense? I'm actually really excited about this one. They are heavily used. Like, you will see these models again, or similar models somewhere. But I think it'll be a fun chance for you to tell a story, right? Like, and that's a part of this that we don't always get to, because there's so much work involved in a full animation production. Katie, you have a question a minute ago?
I don't remember what was it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Other questions about the projects?
Oh, on the streaming thing that we can use for
Mhm.
Maya and stuff,
Upstream?
are we able to like import things for reference, or is that still like weird like it is with our own files? Like we can't upload right now, or we can't save our own stuff to the right place. Is
Oh.
it weird with references as well?
You mean like referencing in like?
Yeah, like if I took a clip and I wanted to use it as a reference. Is
I don't.
that weird
I
about
think it. No, I mean I think it'll let you. That it's just that it's slow with it. Let me find it again. Do I still have it open on one of these? I am a tabaholic. So okay. So the answer is basically it's got its own local storage, or not local, but remote storage, and you can upload whatever files you want to, and it's just like they were on that desktop, right? I think really where it gets kind of clunky is, let's say you want to upload some stuff, you want to work with it there, then you want to pull it back down so you can put it on the render farm here, and then you want to pull it back down and put it back up there. Like you can upload stuff and download stuff. It's just, and have them in those different locations. It's just the workflow is a little slow to upload and download them, but once they're up there, I think it'll work fine. I think.
It just seems a little confusing right now, so.
I have to say the app stream thing seems a little confusing to me too. I don't think that it's going to be.
It works better than like the remote control that we had last semester.
Yeah.
But just uploading and then downloading stuff seems a little confusing.
That's the part that and the fact that there's no Adobe stuff on there is really sort of the downer about AppStream. The fact that it is actually pretty functional though is nice. I think that this is me trying to be optimistic again, so here I go. Part of the point of this class though is to learn sort of professional practices within animation. And one of the first and most important things is like learning like proper organization and file transfer. And so I think what it will probably do is it'll be a headache for the first few weeks. And then you will get into a habit of being more organized overall about how you move your files around. And it will teach you good practices for that. So that's my hope. That's my optimistic spin on it. I think it'll be way easier for everybody if we can get OneDrive connected to it though. If we can, then you can just say, no, this is my OneDrive account, and you just have to have everything there and you can pull it back and forth. So let's hope that happens. I'll check with Marty today if I can to see if we get that. Yeah, this feels like the proper use of an asset pack like this. It seems very transparent. Oh, I see what's happening. They're sharing some of the games that this was in. What is this? Yeah, that looks like them. Yeah. So, okay. So, anybody have any other questions on the projects other than the first project? Okay.
Oh, what was the website that was that those packs were? Oh,
SYNTY, Synty. Actually, if you just look up Polygon series or Polygon packs, it usually comes up that way as well. SYNTY. Okay.
You're probably going to get to it. I'll
All right,
wait till
thank you.
All right. Okay, so briefly, before we jump into the actual assignment for today, or that starts today, I wanted to try to, like, you all, most of you have had classes with me before, and like if you had character animation with me, you realize that I end that first day of class being like, are you sure this is really what you want to do? Because this is really hard, right? To kind of get you in the right mindset of like, we're going to have to work our butts off on this project, right? Character animation, I start that with because character animation is really competitive, right? Totally doable. Like I had a former student that I got hired on to work on a game just a couple of days ago. Like, this is doable. It's hard work. That's usually how I start my character animation lecture. This doesn't seem like the right semester to start off with with that kind of pep talk. And honestly, this isn't that kind of class either. This is a different class than the character animation class. This is a class where I would rather you come out of here with experience and knowledge than portfolio pieces, right? This is the class that you shouldn't be worried about messing up, right? This is the class that you should be prioritizing learning, right? Prioritizing getting better at anything you really feel like you're needing to get better at. So, having said that, I also recognize that it's been a long, hard year, right? Like, last semester was rough for everybody. And I don't know about you, but it didn't feel like it ended as strong as it could have, right? Like, and I think we all knew that was going to happen, right? When everybody went to work from home or work classes from home, it was like we had to duct tape some stuff together to get something that was salvageable, right? To make sure we were able to get something out of that semester. I was actually really surprised out of my classes. I feel like people pulled it off, but like you all probably remember, a lot of people got really down, right? Like, it's very easy for this to start taking a toll on you, right? That's one of the reasons we're doing attendance, and as much as that seems like legalism of like, we're going to count you every day and make sure you're here, right? That's what that's for. The university calls it going dark. It's when students just kind of disappear off the map. And that doesn't happen like a light switch, right? Like, I will notice it over the period of the next few, I noticed it over the period of the few weeks after we went online. It wasn't just like we went online and then suddenly half the class wasn't there. It's like slowly, one at a time, people would start to not be on this list anymore, right? So I think that you all have heard me go on and on about Malcolm Gladwell. If you've ever been in one of my classes, yeah, I'm sure I'm annoying about it. My wife is always being like, yeah, Greg, Malcolm Gladwell. For those of you who don't remember the name, he's the 10,000 hours of practice guy, right? Does that make sense? Does that ring a bell? The idea that to master anything takes 10,000 hours of practice. I'm not going to go preaching on that today. Like, today, though, I'm just a big Malcolm Gladwell fan, period, because I think he researches the stuff that are really interesting to me. And one of his most recent books was called David and Goliath. And it was about what he called favorable disadvantage, right? Which sounds like an oxymoron, but it's not. There are situations that having the advantage is not good, right? Because having an advantage makes you sort of soft. It makes you unprepared for adversity, right? So he uses a lot of examples in that book. It's a great book. Any book he's written is a great book. Check it out. There's a lot of books he talks, or a lot of things he talks about in there of stuff like people who have a learning disability and how they went on to change the world, right? And it's not just this like motivational speaker like version of like, you can do it, you can overcome adversity. It's that the fact that you faced adversity made you stronger and means you're able to take on this challenge, right? So last semester was rough, right? I think that means we should start this semester recognizing we can't be on cruise control, right? We can't just expect this semester to happen to us, right? We have to put this semester in a headlock and drag it through this 15 weeks, right? So my pep talk to you this semester at the beginning of this class is to be prepared for that. Like, we are going to actively attack the semester, right? And I want to kind of get you in that mindset that that's how you're going to have to overcome this semester. And the fact that I am very confident you could do that because you showed back up today, right? You made it through last semester, no matter what last semester was like, and you're here again, and that's what I'm here for, is to help you kick this semester's ass. And so we're gonna do that. That's how I want you to try to face the semester in this class and your history class and your economics class and even your physics class. Like, I want you to. Anybody in physics this semester? It was D plus. I think that's what I ended up getting in it too, the second time I took it.
Yeah, that was my second time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's absolutely fine. Was it D's make degrees? No, it's actually C's make degrees, but I think David Letterman has a
These prevent threes.
D's prevent threes. So yeah, like it's doable. We're gonna get through it. I think that the preparation for that is to be prepared to bob and weave, right? Like whatever happens this semester, we're going to roll with it, right? Things are going to happen, right? Like people are going to get sick and have to self-isolate. People are going to get discouraged and tired. We got to work through that. And I know that that's oversimplifying that sometimes, right? So just being like, I'm not saying rub dirt on it, right? I'm saying we will work through it, okay? So what I really want you to do is if you start feeling that funk, if you start feeling like, oh, I just don't want to do this, and I don't want to go to class tomorrow, I don't want to, like, this is so hard. Like, that's another reason I'm here. That's a reason I will be in those office hours every day, okay? Stop by, like, don't just phase out. Like, come to me first, right? Let me help you try to stay in it, okay? And I think we can do this. I really do. Like, I know it sounds crazy. I was telling my wife this as we was driving in. I was like, I'm actually really optimistic about this semester. I think we're going to come out on the other end of it being like, heck yeah, that was actually really good, right? I don't think we're going to come out the other end and say, yeah, that was really easy. I think it is going to be a challenge, and I think that if we go into it facing that challenge, it makes it doable, okay? Questions, comments? Anybody be like, no, Greg, you're naive? I think we can do this, okay? Just work with me. I'll get you through it. Okay. So let's go to content. So some of you may have noticed I have week 1 here. This is how this will start showing up for you each week. I'm going to try to get a few weeks ahead, just because I don't want to always be hurrying to make the last lecture. But what I have here is the infinite loop assignment and the lecture that goes along with that. So click the lecture first. This is not a step-by-step walkthrough on how to do this, right? This is like, I don't know, I recorded this morning, 40 minutes. So I know people say make shorter videos and make a lot of them, and my response to that is no, because I get on a roll. Like, I don't know where to cut it. Like, I would happily chop this up into 5 videos for you, but they kind of carry on from point to point. My reply is watch them at 1.5 speed, and feel free to skip through them. I think there will be topics where I can break it up into smaller videos, but I expected this to be a 30-minute video, so you know. So this is me going through a whole bunch of different techniques that I think will be helpful in creating our project for Project 1. Now, again, this is a little bit open-ended for you, okay? I want you to be able to make something that you really like, but the why, I always start with why. We need to warm up and shake off some of the old animation rust. Also, I think it's a good idea to start this off by breaking us of some of the knee-jerk reactions we have on how to solve an animation problem, right? So what I really want to do is try to solve a complex problem in an elegant way, right? And we'll see that when we look at some of the examples here. Practice thinking outside of the box. So what we're going to do, we can read all this, but I think the best way to see this is just to start clicking on some of these. They have sound. I really wish they didn't. What? I don't want to. Fine. Yeah, there we go. Is there a way to mute an Instagram video? Like, oh. Okay. So that's what all of these are. This Wonderstedt guy, person, just makes these like infinitely looping videos. And you're going to see these as you click through them. Like, feel free to be clicking through them. They are all very gratifying. So, let's click on a couple others here, because we got some other people who did these as well. I like this. This one is interesting. He uses a lot more texture in his, like a lot more of these. So the thing about these is, can you all still hear me? Okay, cool. I can't tell if it's overpowering it or not. So the thing about these are, like, it will literally play forever, right? It loops infinitely. Like, there is no beginning, there is no clear beginning or end to this, right? So I shared these links with you so you can kind of click through them and find the ones that you really like. I like these because they look delicious. The interesting thing about this is this person made all of these for for Krispy Kreme donuts. I believe that this was a paid promotional thing, right? And I think that that's another element of this class that's worth looking at, is what is the industry now, right? And in cases like this, the industry is making video content for Instagram, right? Like Krispy Kreme wants stuff for their Instagram page. And this person just makes this infinitely looping video for Krispy Kreme, right? Some of these are really, I don't know, these are less gratifying but still kind of fun to watch. Let's see. I don't know. I think these are kind of cool. So, so a lot of the lecture that I've recorded isn't how to do specifically one of these. It's how to use like how to think about how you would start creating one of these. Okay. The last one, this is one Marty sent me, and it's a little bit different, but I kind of liked it. And then it continues to loop. So what we're going to create. you'll create an infinitely looping animation. It needs to be a frame perfect loop and be abstract or surreal in some way. Okay, so a walk cycle alone isn't. I mean, it is an infinitely looping animation. It's not the infinitely looping animation I would like to see for this project, right? It doesn't mean you can have living creatures in it, but that's not a requirement. Right? This can be something completely abstract, completely moving, simple pieces. What I would like is for it to be appealing, right? That's the thing you should be targeting, is in the same way we watch those and go, oh, that's really satisfying to watch. I don't know why, but it is, right? That's what you're going for. You're going for that appeal. So I've given us kind of a week on this one, just to kind of crank out something reasonable, okay? If we start to feel like next class period it's a little tight, I'm not, that time period isn't locked in place. We could scoot it out a little bit if we want to. But I feel like it's something that's doable. I took probably about an hour to plan one out, and I ended up doing something similar. I should have put this in there. In probably about 2 hours. Okay? So obviously you're still going to be fighting with some of the techniques and stuff like that, but I do think it's doable within probably 4 to 5 hours worth of work. Let me see if I can find the example that I did. It may have already fallen off of Slack. Just so I can pull it from OneDrive. But yeah, let me hop in OneDrive really quick. So in the meantime, anybody have any questions about this? Any ideas? Okay.
Does our looping animation have to be textured like that?
So the question is, does your looping animation have to be textured like that? I would say not like that. You don't have to copy their texturing techniques. What I would,
makes it satisfying though.
it's for some of them it is, but you'll notice there's a subtle difference, right? Like this guy uses a lot more of these like granite textures and solid colors, whereas this guy uses a little bit more texture, right? So you can texture them. The version I did was not heavily textured. Oh, cool, loaded right up. Let's see if it'll let me download it here really quick from OneDrive, because OneDrive's awesome. Wait. Oh, come on. Okay, maybe I don't have it on here. Okay, yeah, here's the one I did. Okay. Give me a second. I'm going to download it, and I'll show you all. And I'll actually insert this as part of the file as well. It's downloading. why this isn't letting me download it. Oh. Okay, I'll pull that later and send it to you. You know what, maybe it would just work for me to download Slack here, or log into Slack here. Sign in. Okay, I'll have to figure this out in a bit, but okay. In the meantime, questions, comments? Is it hot in here, or is it just the masks? Yeah. I'm getting older, so that means I'm getting sweatier. I'm not happy about it. I want. I guess so. So. Okay. So if there's no questions, I am going to, so this class today was a little different than usual. Usually, it will be much more of, because this is the first day, we have to figure out where we are, right? We'll be coming in and it'll mainly be our login and it'll be Q&A time, right? My plan is to try to get you the lectures up before we have to be here in person, right? That way you have a chance to watch them, or if nothing else, you could even be using this time in class to be watching them and asking questions as we go. Ideally, I think it works best if you've kind of watched them in advance. So I'm going to try to get a few lectures ahead of you so you can watch ahead and then have questions once we come in. So today wasn't that case. I just got that up probably a few hours ago. So, but the lecture is in the content section. So what I would say is sort of be watching that while you're coming up with ideas, looking for inspiration. And the other thing I would say is your first idea may not always be your best idea, right? You've probably heard that before. So, you know, kind of take that with a grain of salt. Maybe do you come up with a few ideas, and you'll see from the lecture that it's really about trying to solve the problem before you start working on the problem. It's about trying to like look ahead at what is the smarter way to solve something, right? Okay, so at this point, that's pretty much what I had. Actually, what time is this class over? 2:35, 2:25, something like that. So yeah, I forgot that this was a 2-hour class, not a 3-hour class. So, the rest of today is open question time. So, do you have one?
I wondered if I could show it to you, or do you
Oh, yeah.
need to be...
Oh no, you can pull it. Is it stuff from previous work?
It
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to see it. Pull it up and stuff. The rest of the time today is just, use the class as you want to use it. You're welcome to hop off. Just out of curiosity, for the people who are, actually for everybody, is this how you're kind of thinking you're going to, like, is this your planned modality for the rest of the semester? Are the people who are here today thinking you're wanting to be here in person most days?
I'm gonna try to be.
Yeah. The people online, anybody thinking that you'll come in later, or are you liking the remote?
The main reason I came in online today is because I have 2 other classes, and one of them switched to completely online, and the other one, the professor was like, please do online if you can on the first day. So I figured I might as well just, do online for all 3.
Yeah, I think the first day is a scary day for a lot of us because, like, my principal's class has 25 people in it, and we have to limit it to 15 people in a room. So I think a lot of teachers are like, if you can do online, it makes it clears up some room for the people who might not be able to, but you do what you think you need to do. Like, I'll be here every day until this room starts being, if for some reason I come in here for multiple days in a row and it's completely empty and everybody's on Zoom, I may start doing this class from my office. But more than likely, I think there'll always be some people who are in here, and so yeah, do what works for you. I'll be here, and we're just gonna have to be creative this semester. So, all right, cool, y'all. Well, if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, the rest of the class is yours. So, do with it as you will. The other thing for people who are here in person, there are occasions when you'll probably need headphones. I actually bought a bag of 50 headphones or earbuds, so they're downstairs. I'll probably start sort of distributing those throughout the rooms, but I'll also try to leave some in the equipment room or like Redina's office. So if you forget some, I'd like to have some backups for you. But if you have some at home, try to remember to bring those with you because there may be occasions where you'll need audio for stuff.
You get the USB to. It's just weird. I can't
Oh, it's
get
not
it.
accepting it?
Yeah. Mine wasn't working either. I have to be in my files on this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it not plugging in at all?
Like,
Oh, was it manual?
it just doesn't seem like it wants to detect anything. I don't want to like press it in. My sister said that the ones downstairs are doing the same thing, but some of them work.
That's weird.
Does yours work?
I don't know. Try it out. Go ahead and put one in up there. Oh, actually, I'm going to stop recording now. Probably not a reason to keep recording this.